Everybody was kung fu fighting, yeah. And I'm RGB, and it's good to have you back for another replay. This is a replay, and it's between SUS and HighRoller. Now you probably have no clue who these two players might be. Well, I have some educated guesses who they might be. I believe SUS is the player Minchul Park, or Gensei Park, also known as Barcode, S-Barcode, and a lot of other stupid names, because his names always change into pretty much a barcode or something random like this. And his opponent here is the White Protoss HighRoller. And I think that the time frame this replay is from, which is 2018 in November or December, 458 used the name HighRoller, but I might be wrong, because there's another person named HighRoller a little bit later, like from 2019. There's a HighRoller guy who is not 458, but does use the name HighRoller. And 458's Battle.net account is actually HighRoller. So I think someone snatched the name from him, stole it, and made it his own. But all that aside though, we have SUS against HighRoller, 458, or well, HighRoller of course on the Protoss. He's getting a Dragoon build order settled up here and set up, but he gets found really quickly and early by SUS or Minchul here. And Minchul will be able to prepare himself for his incoming assault of Dragoons. So the timing of this build order is quite nice, because by the time your Cybercore finishes, you will have exactly the right amount of gas and minerals to get Singularity Charge and to get some Dragoons. Though right now it's looking like he is getting slowed down just a little bit and he won't be able to afford everything that he needs. Also, Marine, they're arriving on the scene to disrupt that probe mining. He was forced to make a Zealot, which entirely explains why his minerals were off the target that I was mentioning, because, well, being forced to build some Zealots slows down and reduces your minerals and slows down the Dragoon production as well. He has 2 Dragoons, well, 1 Dragoon now on the way. He's trying to stop those Marines from harassing his probes, and the Marines are just doing such a great job harassing those probes. 1 probe kill, 2 probe kill, 3 probe kill, 4 probe kills so far. It's going to go for number 6. The Marines are being chased around. This is absolutely devastating for HighRoller. He's only getting his Dragoon range right now because he was forced to invest so much into those Marines, because SUS went for an 8 supply barracks. He only has 2 barracks there though, but he has an academy there on the way as well. And now he cannot fight back at the moment, because this is stronger than all those Marines are combined, which is quite... you wouldn't expect it, but it's the truth. He's trying to micro his way out of there, but HighRoller is microing his way forward really nicely, getting on top of the Marines, and he's actually doing some return damage here on SUS, but he's eventually forced to retreat. Dragoons there undamaged though, manages to step back. Marine range is on the way instead of Stim Upgrade. Very smart choice there from Minchul, because getting Stim Upgrade against ranged Dragoons doesn't really do all that much, because the Dragoons can just get microed backwards. You kind of want those... What is he doing? Is he going in? Oh, this is very greedy here from HighRoller. He's gonna get some great damage down on the base here though. Probably gonna deny all of these SUVs building those barracks, so maybe he's gonna go for SUVs there on the minerals. He's gonna try to do some return damage here that was dealt to him priorly. Although it looks like he's just going to walk in a circle and scout, take damage on his Dragoons, and return back to the choke point there. So actually, he kind of did nothing at all except annoy Minchul, but he's got Dragoons on the way himself now as well. He is going for a robo facility instead of making more gateways. He wants to really diversify his tech, get a reverse shuttle out on the map, because that is something that really counters these Marines, because he got slowed down so much with getting his Dragoons that honestly, Minchul can now fight those Dragoons with his Marines. Marines are going to enter the building, although the Stim Upgrade is still on the way. Once the Stim Upgrade finishes, this is going to be a very one-sided fight here that's going to go in favor of Minchul. He's getting on top of those Dragoons there, though. Dragoons are pulling back. They're going to try to pick up some Marines, but the Marine range really helping Minchul fight against those Dragoons. And Stim Upgrade will soon help him even more. Getting on top of the probes there. Probes are going to be forced to run away. And this is one of those examples where this build order from 458 is really backfiring. Like, if you get scouted this early, you are in some real trouble. And we can see that happening right here. Dragoons are being migrated there very expertly, though. But they did lose almost all those pros. Only has 9 of them left, of which 3 are mining gas. So this is going to be a very difficult game for HighRoller to even play from this point onwards, because there's 2 bunkers here in the front with a couple of Marines and Firebats there to protect the bunkers and keep those Dragoons away. Firebats there are running out of the base, but they get spotted out by the Dragoons from 458. So now the Firebats are gonna... This actually forces 458 to chase those Firebats and kill them. But it also gives these Marines a chance to just sneak out the base at the same time. So Minchul is pulling off a very great, impressive move here, abusing the bait with the Firebats to allow these Marines to enter the base. But there's a Reaver there as well, so these Marines actually getting cut out instead. Like, the play was amazing if that Reaver did not exist. But now he's chasing the Dragoons, he's going back and forth, dancing back and forth, trying to put pressure on the Dragoons, and 458 is playing this really well, but Minchul is getting as much out of this as he can, trying to snipe the shuttle there, and he gets the shuttle almost. The Reaver there stays alive, shuttle stays alive, and the Reaver now gets the shuttle on the Marine. Reaver is running in circles, trying to... He takes down the shuttle and the Reaver, they're at the end. This is some of the most amazing Terran play I've seen in a while. Like, This guy just has such an amazing game sense of being able to milk whatever he can out of what he has, get as much done. That's some of the most insane play I've seen right there. And he did it with so few Marines too. This is really, really impressive. And yeah, now we have factories coming on the way for Minchul, more barracks there as well, because he knows he just has to build more Marines, because there's no canister in the front, and only a couple of Dragoons, and the Marines now on the push, fighting back against those Dragoons. He's got level 1 weapon attack on the way as well, and new Reavers being made there in the base, but will it be enough? Will it be on time, as the Marines are streaming out of the base, going cross-map to the choke point of 458. 458 is fighting really well there with the Dragoon Micro. But whether it will be enough to make a comeback, I don't know, because it's 36 SPs against 18 probes. And in he goes with the Stim Upgrade into those Dragoons. Dragoons are pulling back. Dragoons are doing a great job there, though. But they're taking so much damage from these Stim Marines with the range upgrade. And the medics are in the back ready to heal them up. And he's getting closer back to his probes. He's going to have to fight back here, though, very soon. More Dragoons are on the way, but they're not even close to spawning. The Reaver in the back, though, is just about to be finishing. Now we can fight back against those Dragoons, but most of the Dragoons are going down to the Marines, because the Marines with range and Stim and medics are simply too strong for those Dragoons to really handle. Like, they cannot kill the Marines. The Marines just keep getting healed back up. There's the Reaver with the shuttle. Reaver's going to try to get some kills there. He's going to have to pick it up and run away, but he's going to Stim down there. He's going to unload, and now he's going to focus on the Reaver. And the Reaver, the Marine split there is phenomenal, and he kills the Reaver there in the end. He's going to try to kill this cannon there before it spawns, but the cannon gets up. Does get it below half health though, and more Marines are in the front, ready to gun down the pylon. There's one pylon down, is aiming and gunning for the Dragoons. Has a tank there rolling into the base as well. More Marines are on the way from the base too. This is absolute masterful, top tier level play from Minchul here. He knows exactly what he can and cannot do. This is one of the best control and target selection and decision making I've seen in the Terran vs. Protoss. Even if we include Brains play and Monks play, this is... The Scarab does not explode! That's very lucky there for Minchul, although he still would have won the game there though, even if he did lose those Marines there, because he simply has too many tanks and Marines there on the way, streaming into the base of 458, and 458 taps out, HighRoller lose the game, and SUS, aka Minchul, takes home game number 1. That was a very extremely high display of skill, knowledge, experience, everything you can name. Everything just you can imagine. Minchul really showed everyone an actual masterclass in playing an aggressive Terran, and why going for an 8 supply barracks before you make your depot on 9 supply is so important. Because now imagine if he had gone for an 8 supply depot and a 9 barrack. He wouldn't have scouted this in time. The Dragoons would have already been queued up. The Dragoons would be spawning very close to the point where Minchul's Marines could arrive here in the base. And then all of this would never have happened. This is all made possible by the power of going for an 8 supply barracks. So you have your Marines out about 14 or 15 seconds quicker than if you went for the supply depot first. And it also means that your second barracks is also a little bit faster. I can just show it right here if I rewind. I want to show this because this is what I think one of the most important things that a lot of Terrans do not utilize. 8, 10 barracks. The power is immense. And he follows it up with a depot. And this of course transitions into another barracks. And that just gives him so much offensive early game power to go for rushes like he did. The timing is amazing because you get, instead of having 2 Marines out, you will have 4 Marines out. So you get 1 Marine earlier from this, 14 seconds of course is the difference, then another 14 seconds is the difference. So you have 2 more Marines to fight with, and here he finds him really early on into the game, forced to completely screw up his build order, because what you want to do in this situation as a Protoss is not get these Zealots. You want to save those minerals to get Dragoons, which is the exact opposite of what happened here. So yeah, anyway, that was a small dive into why that happened. Let's move on to game number 2 and see how that one plays out, because I'm kind of curious to see whether Minchul can upset his opponent again in a similar fashion. So yeah, I got a little bit too excited in the first match and started talking gibberish. I didn't make much sense at some points. But I think I'll be able to keep myself under control this time around, because this should be... Well, I don't think this match is going to be as unorthodox as the previous one, because there's 2 different factors going on this time around. Well, one actually, just one difference. That is the distance traveled from spot number 6 to spot number 9, right here. Look at the minimap, because you only see its darkness. Is probably the shortest traveling distance on the map. Like going from a middle spawn to a middle spawn is a very short traveling distance. It is shorter than going from a middle spawn to the adjacent corner spawn. But this time around we have a corner spawn against a corner spawn, and 458 here is being very stubborn because he's going for the exact same build order, because he knows that last game was, you know, kind of a freak accident that doesn't usually happen like that. Usually that doesn't happen. Usually the Terran is most likely not right next to the Protoss, and usually the Terran does not get that many pro kills that early on and does not disrupt the Protoss's build order to such a significant degree. So he wants to try it again. Whether it's going to work, I don't know. I have seen it work in the past. It's a really nice build order. In the previous game, he didn't get to showcase any of it, really. He just got disrupted to such a degree. It was just, you know, fumbling, grasping at straws. He wanted to make a comeback, but he had to pull off such a freak accident, such a freakish conditions, such a high mountain for him to climb, that really, he had to force something. And everything he forced failed, because Minchul just played it so damn well. So Minchul starts off with the exact same build order with an 8 supply, with 8 barracks, 9 supply, 10 barracks, another depot, gas as well. Only 2 barracks instead of going for 3. A lot of players like to go for 3, but he goes for 2 instead. So there's an early academy there as well. And we've got Marines going cross maps, scouting the bases, and he wants to find out where 458 is. He's going to find 458 pretty early into the game, because he actually already found him with his SCV, because he scouted so early. That's also a thing that the very early barracks enables, is letting your SCV scout as soon as the barrack finishes and maybe deal some damage. So this time around, the Zealot there spawns a little bit earlier than the previous game. You cannot yet afford singularity charge, but now you can. Usually you get the singularity charge at the same time as you queue up these Dragoons, so there's a small difference there. He killed 1 probe, he's trying to kill a 2nd probe, but the Zealot is chasing the Marine, and those 2 Dragoons are very close to spawning, and once those 2 Dragoons spawn, all the damage that can be dealt to the probes is gone. The threat will be erased. So now Dragoon spawns, his Marine there at the top is going to die. He's trying to get as many pro kills as he can with the Marines, sacrificing them, but it might not be the smartest choice. He just get, I think, about 5 or so pro kills in total. Yeah, he got 5. Because the difference is about, yeah, the difference is 5 here. Like, they pretty much don't miss a beat on their worker production, and you know, workers have the same spawning time for both races, so he killed 5 probes there in total. Or maybe he killed 4 and one of the probes ran in here and got killed by those Marines that are here sitting around the bunker. So the Dragoon range is very close to finishing. He's gonna snipe that SCV there on the side that's trying to escape, but the lack of Dragoon range really makes this a difficult thing, and as you can see, the SCV is just staying outside of range. He's making one Dragoon chase, but now Minchul knows that because those Dragoons are chasing the SCV, they are not defending the base, so he just goes for a counterattack once again, and he wants to pick up a couple more of those probe kills. But there's now already too many Dragoons here in the front. He wants to strike before Dragoon range finishes. He's going to try to push his luck with the stim upgrade. He gets some damage out on the Zealot there, but he eventually decides to turn around as, well, 458 also decided to turn around. This Dragoon has picked up the SCV, and now the Marines... Minchul does not miss a single detail. He's gonna try to kill that Dragoon, finds it, stims it. Dragoon running away. 458 wants to keep it alive because, you know, having more Dragoons really will help pulling off this strategy that he's doing. This is really smart from Minchul, not forgetting that little detail that the Dragoon is there, ready to be picked off. But he's costing him so much time, and the Marines are stimming themselves to death. So now the Marines are pretty weak. He's going to try to have them escape though, because he knows Dragoons are on the chase. He knows Dragoons are planning to hunt down those Marines, because that's exactly what he would do. But 458 might find them by coincidence, and he finds them there. He's going to kill and pick up those Marines. Marines going to go down, and well, that's the story of the heroic Marines trying to get some stuff done, but eventually getting caught out way too far away from their base. So we've got 2 bunkers here, 2 turret missiles as well. Missile turrets. One more SCV trying to escape, but it's gonna go down as well. There's a lot of SCVs lost there trying to get out of the base. The Marines are stimming before the engage even happens. That's really smart once again from Minchul. I'm really impressed with the attention to detail and the quick thinking that he's displaying. Although Marines there do go down though eventually, because they try to get some damage down on Dragoons, but Dragoons there in the back a little bit too strong for those units to really try to fight into. The tank there though, without siege mode, has a longer range than Dragoons do, so he uses a very common normal map strategy, and that is just using the unsieged tank to fend off those Dragoons. But little does Minchul know that a Reaver is coming in from the top side there, because look at this. 458 went for a very fast robotics because he had a second gas put up on the Gazer there, so a frontal attack happening there to distract, and as he's being distracted, Reaver there with the shuttle is arriving on the scene. The SCVs are running away, the SCVs are unstacking, so that the Scarab cannot hit the SCVs and instead will dud and not explode. He did get a couple of SCV kills there though. One of them, and he gets a couple of Marine SCV kills there as well. The shuttle micro is, ooh, that's a pretty nice hit. So in the end, he got, I think, about 6 SCVs in total. It's better than nothing, but of course you would have wanted to end the game right there by hitting that entire stack of SCVs. Because the frontal attack failed, and this is almost an all-in build order from the Protoss, when you really want to deal damage early and quick, slow down and cripple the Terran, and then scale into the mid-game and, you know, deal even more damage. But there's now... Minchul is so funny. I really love this guy. He's trying to get a couple of probe kills there with the Wraith, but the Wraith doesn't deal that much damage, so the probe there barely stays alive. He could have just killed it, honestly, instead of pulling the Wraith away, but maybe he thought he could keep the Wraith alive, but it wasn't meant to be. So 4 bunkers in the front, 2 tanks as well, no turrets up on the sides yet. He's recovering from that probe, from that SCV hit with the Reaver. He's got a second or a third command center being added, well, already finished. Getting a comset station there for more scans, because he wants to keep track of when these drops are leaving, but also what 458 is up to. Shuttles coming in from the top side once again. There's 2 Dragoons and mostly just Dragoons. Well, there's a Reaver in there as well. He turns around just in time to prevent the shuttles from going down, keeps the Reaver there alive, picks up the Reaver, is going to try to... Ooh, that's a huge Scarab hit there. Killed about, I think, 7 or 6 Marines trying to get on top of those SCVs, but there's 2 tanks there, and Marines there as well in the mix. He's unloading far away, but he... Ooh, is he gonna... He gets 1 Marine kill. And eventually... Well, he messes up by picking up the Reaver. When the Reaver is on low HP, the Reaver dies. He shouldn't have picked up the Reaver. So he could still have gotten another shot off on at least something here. So really well defended with pretty much nothing at all by 458 there. He defended that with nothing at all. Well, I mean, the least possible. 2 tanks and I think about 8 Marines or so. That's really well defended from him. Splitting up his Marines to make sure that the Scarabs only hit 1 Marine at a time. Although he did lose, I think, about 7 or so here. But what's now important is that he has to progress into getting more rates, because rates are the, in this scenario, the best defense against shuttles. Because it allows him to pick off those shuttles as they come flying into his base or towards his base, so you can pick them off here on the sides. You can also get vision beyond the hills with the raids. And you can fly back and forth to scout and scan and try to discover where those shuttles are coming from. The moment he's using them as just simple hill vision by putting them on patrol back and forth. The frontal attack is also being set up at the same time here as the goons are moving to the front to possibly set up a frontal attack with a Reaver in a shuttle, well, 2 Reavers in a shuttle to maybe try and break through. So he's got a lot of Zealots, Dragoons there as well. We've got Zealot speed there, not yet on the way, or does he have it already? I would need to see a Zealot moving to determine whether he has it or not. 2 Reavers are loading it in the front. He's going to try to take down the frontal portion here. Right there in the front as well. It's doing some damage, not focusing on the shuttle. Reavers are firing on whatever they can, but the attempt falls short. And this is where we see that this build order from 458 either has to get a lot of damage down early, or he falls behind. You can see with the worker count, he's on 48 workers against 50 SCVs. And Minchul will just keep getting further ahead because he has more, well, command centers than 458 has nexuses. So he will have 1 more SCV per 14 seconds than 458 has with his probes. So we've got more robots coming out. He's planning on sticking to that shuttle play. Reaver drops, whatever he wants to do. Still only 2 assimilators there. And a scan's coming down on top of his base there. And he scans pretty much everything he wants to scan. He scans the tech, scans more tech. He scanned everything he had to. More gear is being added on for 458 because he really has to start progressing and scaling into the mid-game in order not to fall behind too much. Drop comes in there at the same time onto Minchul, although the shuttle's going down. There's still a Reaver inside that shuttle though. Lands, he's gonna get a shot off. No shot gets taken. No Scarab flies and escapes and hits anything. It dies before it can. This killed a turret. Not a second one though, he kills only 1. Kills only 1. He is loading up a... Well, not loading up, he's preparing a pretty big attack here though. Does he have shuttles on the way? He's got more shuttles on the way. Observers as well. He needs observers to fight against those raids. So, you know, you might as well get one. So that the raids become less of an inconvenience or a nuisance for him to deal with. One SCV there in the front that couldn't get back into the base. Well, now he's going to try... Well, yes, Zealot speed for sure. We just confirmed it. And yeah, this is what the scans are so amazing for. He's gonna go out hunting for shuttles. Oh, there is actually an observer there. He does get 1 of them. Really great Wraith control there coming out from Minchul. He's gonna get 2 shuttles. Maybe even gonna get 1 of them. Of course, he snipes the observer with his scan, but another observer here arriving on the scene, very unluckily for him. But he gets all the shuttles there in the end. That is amazingly well played there. Quick thinking to snipe the observer with a scan so that he can continue killing those shuttles. And he takes over the game completely. He was already ahead, but now he is in the driver's seat even more so than before. Because he's got a lot of tanks here in the front. And 458 really can't do anything at the moment. At this point, if 458 were to attack, you would be giving Minchul a free card to go for a counter attack. That is the last thing that 458 wants to. That is why 458 is being so passive at the moment. He's going to try to deny some of the side vision there, but using his Dragoons to shoot over the hill to kill those turrets, which is really, really smart. The tanks are being sieged up right next to the hill. 458 retreats just in time. The Observer gets scanned, but the Observer gets pulled away. So once again, great awareness from 458 to notice that his Observer is being hunted for. But yeah, he's done what he wanted to do. He's denied a lot of side vision there, but Wraiths once again moving out to snipe some of them shuttles. But this time around, there's more Corsairs than the previous time around, so maybe he's going to try to kill something else. He's going to try. He's being very brave. Oh, they're flying away from the Observer. He kills 2 shuttles once again because Observer wasn't there. He caught 458 right in the moment he wanted to move out without Observer, and immediately punishes him forward. Also splits up his Wraiths, does lose 1 Wraith there in the end though. But the attention to detail and the focus, the game sense from Minchul is, I am really impressed. He's picking apart every single move that 458 is throwing at him, which not a lot of players have been able to do as consistently as Minchul has. In all the games we've seen between these two players, Minchul is just always in 458's head. He knows exactly what 458 is doing at all times. His information gathering, his decision making is just top notch. It's just, it doesn't get much better than this. So he's building cannons up in the front now. At least that's his plan. Throwing down some pylons to build cannons, maybe even going to build a lot of gateways on the middle. And once again, shuttles coming out to hunt for those shuttles. The Wraiths though get repelled because they don't have cloak energy for some reason. There's also an Observer there now on the scene. The shuttle flies out as the Wraiths are flying away, which is the exact correct time window that 458 has to use to go for a drop there on Minchul's minerals. So great thinking there, quick reaction to not let that small window of time go unwasted. At the same time though, he's planning on denying and cancelling all those cannons on the middle with the Marines and the Wraiths. But he goes in with this shuttle attempt. Well, he arrives on the scene. Minchul is very slow with pulling away. He loses most. No, all the SFVs make it through. He's going for the command center there instead, though. The command center has very low HP. The command center is going to go down. Command center gets taken down, and that's a successful attack there from 458, managing to kill the command center, even though it was being covered by engineering base, barracks, and whatsoever. He manages to kill it. He didn't get any of the SCVs there, though, which is what I'm amazed by. The SCVs went right through the Reavers, but not a single one of the Scarabs connected. And now, because 458 has taken that command center and has lost a lot of supply, Minchul is in fact going to use this small time window to go for a counterattack. He's trying to kill those cannons on the middle. He pulls the Dragoons and Zealots away, which also gives him the signal to just go for it and roll into the middle before those cannons all finish up. He's spreading out his tanks. Notice this, he's spreading out his tanks, but his tanks don't block each other, but instead can all attack with a nice U-shape. And he goes in with the tanks, unsheathed, sieges them up, going to take down those cannons very quick and rapidly, but units coming in from 458 rolling across the map, ready to attack those tanks, but the tanks have their upgrades in a pretty good spot, level 1-1 against 0-1-1 Dragoons. So actually the upgrades are somewhat equal. But Minchul definitely has the upper hand here, because this is so many tanks. A couple of vultures in the mix as well, but you're going to plant some mines, I'm sure, because he always likes to go for mines. Valkyries there on the scene as well, flying across map, and Dragoons now moving out, Zealots moving out as well. Reavers are in the back, ready to load it up into the shuttles. Observers there moving to the side, Horses there to fight against the air. But first, the Valkyries are going to try to take down those shuttles. The fight right in the front is happening. The tanks are being marked backwards. Now the Valkyries are trying to kill the shuttles, but not going to succeed. The fighter on the middle though has to be won by the tanks. The tanks micro themselves backwards to allow the siege tanks to keep firing while the Dragoons couldn't fire because they were chasing the tanks. And Minchul now moving closer, deeper into the choke point, setting up his tanks. Dragoons are moving in, ready to attack. Will they get some damage down there though? Units are being unloaded on top of the tanks. Reavers are getting huge shots up on the tanks. Tanks are killing each other as well. And that's a huge, massive blow that might just salvage the game here for 458 as he killed almost all the tanks there in the front. Those mines there, though, do get some damage on the Dragoons. Dragoons don't have an Observer with them to help them. There's the Observer there on the top side, though. They can be moved down. But it looks like Minchul... Ooh, he had to go for it. He had to go for it. He couldn't give 458 any more time. Because 458, you know, getting more time lets him rebuild his mass, get a bigger base, and start attacking once again and keep up the pressure. But the mind play here from Minchul is pretty damn good. Because this stops all those units from progressing into the base, although now there's a small little window being opened up by those zealots, and he gets through there in the end. But now tanks are in the back, in the choke point, are ready to fight against all the zealots and the goons that are coming in, and the vultures are actually going for probes in the base. He's not wasting them whatsoever, trying to get as much done as he can. The goons here in the choke point there have been forced to pull back because they cannot fight against all those tanks and vultures, and Minchul is hanging in there. He's hanging in there, holding on, not planning on relenting. Control off the game to 458. Another drop there on the side though, ready to go in, but there's an engineering bay that spots it. But Minchul has a couple of dragoons that could intercept it, and only one Valkyrie, but more Valkyries are about to be spawning, so they will fly into those Valkyries without a doubt. But more shuttles here on the top side ready to fly in. Looks like 458 has managed to recover from that horrible start. You know, Lothar on the top corner, which might not be the best choice, but he's gonna get some kills on Goliaths and maybe those turrets as he's flying away scared from those Valkyries. But another drop there coming in. Templar Zealots. This time he's gonna arrive on the scene. Will Minchul respond in kind? Minchul is pulling his SVs back to safety. Gonna get a storm off on the SVs, but he gets no SV kills whatsoever. And that's a pretty good situation there for Minchul. But the Templar is still alive, still in the shuttle. And there's... the Valkyries are now gonna kill the shuttle. There's a couple of Zealots here on the low ground as well. So it looks like Minchul manages to repel that for now and stay alive, stay in the game, but his minerals are as low as they could be. Around 50 and 100 is where he's hovering. His SVs will take a while to recover, and a frontal attack coming in as well. A lot of Zealots here moving across map. He scans it because he knows it's coming. He knows it's coming. The Vultures there are ready to intercept and keep those Zealots away from the tanks. Micros backwards towards the tanks to buy time. Places some mines. Mines are doing some great damage down on the Zealots, but Zealots are getting on top of the tanks eventually, and they reduce the amount of tanks by I think about 4 or 5 or 6. Now shuttles once again coming in from the top side there, but the Valkyries don't do enough damage to take down the shuttles immediately, and the Scarab shots are gonna get SV kills. Gets a couple of them. More Scarabs are flying into the pile of SVs. He gets a lot of kills there, and yeah, that's the game. Minchul loses, and 458 makes a miraculous comeback that I didn't expect to be happening. Because the game was entirely going in Minchul's favor, but that really beautiful command center snipe put him right back on track, right back into the game, and netted him a win. So yeah, we are looking at a 1-1 series so far. Both players got a win. Minchul played this exactly as he should have, but he made a small, tiny mistake by not getting the proper amounts of drop defense for that one drop that managed to sneak through. There was one window, 458 used it, and immediately got results. So that's really impressive that the one moment the raids were not hunting for shuttles because he was scaring them away with the Corsairs. He just went for it. He didn't hesitate, he just went for it. He knew, this is my time to strike, and so he did. He striked, it was effective, and he cut the head of the snake. He cut the head of the snake, the body dies. Let's go for game number 3. See what's in store for us in the future. Game number 3. The two players are right next to each other. This should be good. This should be interesting. The two players being right next to each other, you know, always means one or two things. In this case, because the Terran is right next to the Protoss and the Protoss minerals are close to the hill, we can expect to be seeing some hill abuse with tanks and dropships. But that's only in the case where 458 here, right next to his opponent Minchul, doesn't get any real damage down on his opponent. Command center there coming down to the top corner. That's a barracks. This is looking pretty bad here for Minchul because we have 3 gateways there starting for 458. 458 is really mixing shit up this time around, and he's doing the exact correct build order against a +1 command center, and I don't see Minchul making it out alive here because the Zealots are already queued up, already on the way. When you only have 2 barracks here and a command center there in the back as well, he's getting a 3rd barracks there too this time around instead of going for only 2. Probe there is doing some shenanigans, doing some pretty good shenanigans. The micro is not top level, but he's making some stuff happen. That's a lot of damage on those SCVs there, and the probe is still alive, going back and forth. Only a single SCV trying to fight back against it. Gets caught up there though, but Zealots are now on the way. Did he do enough disrupting for his Zealots to be effective? And he blocks the gas there with a pylon as well. It's a Manor Pylon blocking the gas. Now, he has the he just cancels it. That's really smart. Just cancel and build another one. Probe there gets stuck. Zealots arrive on the scene. Zealots are gonna fight. There's only one Marine. 2 more Marines are on the way. He's building a bunker there as well. SCVs are forced to retreat away from the minerals, trying to stack attack on those Zealots. Not gonna get much done there though. That's a lot of disruption there. More Zealots are on the way, 3 at a time. Waves of 3. Gets a 1+1 Nexus there in the back as well. He's gonna... The bunker finishes just in time, but the Marines are not getting inside the bunker because they're getting blocked. Axis, nope, they're gonna get in. But now there's 5 Zealots on top of the bunker, and the SCVs are too far away to repair it. There's one SCV there. Oh, the SCV immediately goes down, and the bunker goes down there as well. Will he get the repair? No, doesn't get the repair. And that's GG. That's a done game, because now Minchul cannot fight back against all those Zealots that are coming in. Zealots are gonna be the victors. And yeah, 458 wins again, this time in only 3 minutes. So you know, that can happen as well. I was praising Minchul in the first 2 games so often, so much praise was going his way, but ooh, this didn't look pretty. I mean, this is kind of one of those cases where if 458 was, you know, further away or did a different build order, we might have seen different results, but he kind of gambled on it and just went for 3 gateways, and you know, he got the kill. He got the damage down on his opponent, and his opponent couldn't respond because all he had was SCVs against Zealots, and no stack attacking is allowed. He did do a pull-off attack, but stack attacking with shift command is not allowed in the Korean scene. So yeah, quick game, very quick game. Game number 4. And they're across the map from each other. They are across the map, both on middle spawns, which should mean that this game is going to be interesting. Not a lot of travel distance, but also not really one of the first options you would scout if you are the Terran or the Protoss. Like, you would probably go to the side or to the middle. You wouldn't go for a cross-map scout all that often in the Korean scene. Maybe in the foreign Western scene, you could go for a cross-map scout if you know it is Terran versus Protoss, because a Protoss in the Western scene very often goes for a proxy mid-build, where they build 3 gateways on the middle, but that's very unlikely to be occurring here for 458. Pylon, 810 barracks. Wait, no, is that supply depot? He goes for an 8 supply depot, which means we're looking at a command center start. No, it's not. Alright, he's mixing it up. He's mixing it up. This is one of the very first times that I see a Korean do an 8 supply, 9 barracks, and a 10 barracks? Almost 11 barracks? You could call it 10.5 barracks, but, you know, it's kind of the same as a 10 barracks. Scouts with the SV. So he's mixing his build order up slightly. It does get him in the same place. That's what matters. It gets him in the same place, because the difference in the end is not that much. It's just he gets less rushing potential. Less rushing potential. Not Russian, but rushing. As I mentioned, both players are scouting either the middle spawn first or the corner spawns first, and they find nothing there. Now this SFE might go for this corner here, or it might go for the bottom corner. Bottom corner it is, which probably means that he's going to scout these 2 corners with Marines. Finds a probe there though, which means he's not going to scout this corner. He's going to go to either number 6 here on the bottom side, or he's going to go to the bottom right for scouting, because that's, you know, deductive reasoning, where there's no reason for the probe to be coming from the bottom corner if you are located as a Protoss on the top corner of the map. So it only leaves about 2 or 3 options where 458 can be located. And 458 knows likewise that because he saw the SCV pretty early, that Minchul is probably on spot number 12 or number 11. And that is in terms of, you know, how a clock works. So he finds him once again pretty early on. He's getting the same build order with 3 barracks, 3 gateways there. This time around he can fight up those Marines pretty easily. Marine gets microed really expertly there though. Stays alive, and Svita stays alive as well. He's going to try to get a little more damage on the probes, but the Marine is on 3 HP and goes down in the end. Marines here in his base, the Zealots in his base as well, but he repels that with his 2-barrack build order. That's what I meant to say. His 2-barrack build is also something that works. So stim upgrade there on the way for him. Medics will soon be queued up as well, but he needs more Marines because he only has 5 of them at the moment. 6 of them at the moment. Against 4 Zealots. And that's going to be very difficult to micro unless those medics finish quick. And unless that stim upgrade finishes before the Zealots engage the fight. He's going to have to pull off some micro miracles. Although he's setting himself up for success here by putting his Marines in between SCVs, medics, and... well, putting his medics in between the Marines and the medics. The Zealots and the medics. The Zealots... oh, wow. The Zealots and the Marines. Ah, that's what I wanted to say. Kept mixing it up. It's not difficult to say. I just completely brain farted there. But he's found a solution too. It's getting us around. But the surround... not really working because the fire bats there... although the fire bats are running around because they're dumb, Minchul manages to micro his way back into that quite well by pulling the fire bats down and pulling the Marines away to the other side so that the fire bats fight against the Zealots. And yeah, well played. Stupid fire bats trying to run in a circle around the command center. Almost got him killed. In the end, it kind of works out just fine. Narrowly escapes a bad situation. Zealots there are going for some SCV kills. Kills the SCV there on the command center. Fire bats, though, burning through those Zealot health bars at a very high tempo. But in the end, all the Zealots go down. And now Minchul is just going to scale up, get richer. And it looks like 4-8 is doing the same. Although he went for 3 gateways, means his Nexus is delayed. Means his Cybercore is delayed. Means his gas is also delayed. Which is not really looking all that well for 4-8. Although he does have 3 cannons, and I think about 5 Zealots are in the front. He's spacing them out really well, keeping this one far in the front as it's low HP, and it will give away the fact that Minchul is on the attack. Minchul goes in, he's going to try to sneak his fire bats in there. Doesn't succeed though. Doesn't succeed. 2 medics go down. I think 2 Marines and a fire bat go down there as well. So he's forced to pull back, and now that means that 4-8 can try to go for an attack, but Minchul knows that the Zealots are coming, so he goes for a counterattack on the counterattack, and counterattacks the counterattack with his own counterattack. Beautiful move there. Although now he's getting caught out there by his Zealots. Counterattack and the counterattack on the counterattack, and the counterattack gets shut down by a counterattack on the counterattack, was counterattack and the counterattack. Now the counterattack has been shut down by the counterattack, and the counterattack from the counterattack was attacking the counterattack. So the Zealots come out on top, clear out all units on the middle, and that's a lot of units lost there for a person who was on a 2-barrack build order. Now 3 barracks there though, blocks access for the Zealots, keeps those Zealots away. The factories there in the back are almost finished. Machine Shop is being added on. Starcraft also on the way and throws down a couple of scans there on 4-8's base and scans the main. Not the tackler in the front, although I do think he scanned it because, you know, the circle here somewhat indicates that he used his scan on that region. But just, you know, the replay function is bugging out just a little bit. Once again, tries to sneak through. But a very fast stim attack there from Minchul. He knows, he sees it and responds immediately. Prevents the information gathering from 4-8. Although I do think that at this point 4-8 is kind of just throwing away his Zealots. But you know, this guy usually has a plan. He already managed to crawl himself back into the game once. And, you know, he's still a little bit ahead of his opponent here. Although not that far ahead though, because that 3 gateway build order really slowed him down. And his ability to start punching with Reavers and Shuttles has been delayed by I think a minute or 2. All because he went for that 1 gateway more than he usually does. Shuttle's finished, 2 Reavers are on the way. Getting a 3rd Robo, is getting shuttle speed there as well. Zealot speed also on the way. No ground force upgrades. No singularity charge yet either. He's just sticking to his Zealots. Right there on the way to hunt for some shuttles. He knows the Robos are here on the side, so he's expecting the shuttle to finish soon. But the shuttle's already finished. No! 4-8 makes a mistake there, pulling back the shuttle. But it won't go down as the Wraith cannot fight above those cannons. So it's just gonna, you know, deal some damage on those structures there, as there's nothing that can shoot up in the air. Though now Dragoons have been queued up and ready to fight against it. Tank there set up in this front. Go for a frontal attack. He's going for a frontal push here. Really liking this from Minchul. Spacing his Marines out pretty well. The Reaver Shuttle Micro is coming in very soon. He's waiting for his Zealot speed upgrade, though there comes the Reaver Shuttle Micro. Uses the Zealots to tank the tank shots to prevent the Reaver from taking damage, and he's doing the same here, sending those Zealots in so the Reaver can get microed, but he's target firing the Reaver with the tanks, although almost all of the Marines have come down there, so now 4v8 has free reign, free movement to go for the attack, as the Marines will not kill his Zealots as they get, you know, their HP reduced by the tanks first. So he goes in for the attack, going cross map, but there's a bunker there, 2 tanks, and a couple of Marines as well. Not that much to defend actually against all these units going cross map, but more Marines and tanks are finishing up. He's sieging up in the back there. He's getting his Zealots on top of the tanks, and it's going to go down, but there's a lot of Marines here that are stimming up and attacking all the units from 458, but 458 also has a drop coming in for the back there, and Minchul is not responding to it. Reaver there on lows, Reaver shoots. Scarab is chasing, gets only a single SCV kill. Shuttle is almost dead. Shuttle is almost dead. Shuttle goes down before he unloads the Reaver. So no second shot coming down on the SCVs there. There's a Zealot there on the side. Thought it might have been a Shuttle, but it's just a harmless Zealot. So that situation looked very close, but you know, Minchul manages to come out on top there. Another drop there flying out for 458. He's adding on to his base now. He's got 61 probes. A lot of idle probes there as well. Another drop there being prepared. He does have Storm upgrade on the way here too. Got Dragoon Singularity Charge just finished. He's got level 1 weapon attack. First gateway unit is finishing up soon as well. Shuttle comes in on the top side there, flies into the turret, goes in for the attack. Minchul not yet responding. Both Reavers are loading on the scene. Gets all the SCV kills that he wants. All of them. He's killing all of the SCVs there. Minchul did not see this coming. He missed it. He missed it. This doesn't happen often, but he missed the sound cue, missed the visual cue, and the Reavers are wrecking the house. They're tearing the house down there in the back. Only 27 SCPs left alive, of which I think about 20 are on the minerals. As the other, well, maybe even less. Maybe even less. He's got a tank drop of his own on the way, though. He's scanning the base, trying to look for a nice little spot where he can drop that tank and get a shot up on the probes. There's a very realistic option to attack from here. But 4v8 is already moving out with his Dragoons, trying to set up. But he's actually pulling back because he saw the dropship, and he knows he needs his units in the back of his base to kill the dropship. Dropship is unloading, tanks are sieging up, tanks are going to shoot on. Ooh, he got some probe kills there in the end. He killed a lot of probes. I think 4v8 thought that these probes here on this side were safe. But he loses. Oh, another drop there coming in on from 4v8 on Minchul at the same time as well. There's no Reavers here on the scene, only Zealots, and the Zealots are wrecking house. They're killing everything they can. He killed a couple of turrets there on the side, now killing Marines. SCVs are still safe here though. There's the Templar Storm. The SCVs are still running away. He does get a lot of kills there, and 2 Zealots still left alive. Zealots are going to try to get splash damage down. Oh, he unsieges the tanks to prevent splash damage from the tank shots on the Zealots onto the SCVs, and that's really smart and well played. Mines in the middle to keep 4v8 away. Another drop there on the way from the left side of the map. Won't get spotted out by the Marines, so he's going to use this same corridor that he used before and fly towards those SCVs. But first, let's very quickly get a look at what 4v8 is up to in his base. Got 3 Nexuses there. He's recovering from that hit on his probes because he lost, I think, about 25 in the end there. Once again, shuttles are coming in. The low Zealots first to take away focus from the Reaver. Reaver gets a shot off on the SCVs. SCVs are not gonna die because they scramble up into a tight, narrow space where the Scarab cannot hit them. But the Reaver micro in the back is insane. Gets as much damage down as he can, and there's almost no units in the base left for Minchul. And 4v8 just keeps annoying the shit out of his opponent. And he's gonna fly away before the Reaver and the Shuttle get taken down by the Marines arriving on the scene. Yeah, Minchul is just getting toyed with by the Reavers and the drops at this point. Now a frontal attack coming in as well because 4v8 is almost maxed out. 150 supply going across the map. There's a Shuttle with Zealots in there as well. It's going to drop on top of tanks, but there's no tanks here in the front, so you're going to unload instead. And these Dragoons are fighting through. He killed the Shuttle there in the top side with the Reaver in it, so he didn't lose any SCVs there. But now Dragoons are coming in through the front. There's no tanks in the front because all the tanks are in the back. Tanks are moving from the back to the front because they have to defend. But now it might be too late as the tanks are sieging up. He has to fight through the bunker first. The bunker is doing a lot of work here. Shuttle comes in as well. Turret goes down just in time. He's unloading the Shuttle, but there's not already unloaded on anything. Dragoons are now getting on top of the tanks. Zealots getting on top of the tanks as well. Marines are coming from the back to the front to kill the Dragoons as they're on low HP. He's trying to get his Dragoons on top of Oh, drop comes in for the top as well at the same time. 1 storm, 2 storm. You got 3 storms in total. Only used 1 of them though. As the shuttle is still alive, which means that now he's going to try to kill the shuttle with the Marines, but the shuttle stays alive, kills the Templar. The Marines are arriving back on the scene to mine. And 458 is preparing his next attack. He's got Reavers this time around as well. He's got shuttles on the way, he's got Dragoons and Zealots on the way as well. This has become a very, very intense match. Goes in, storms on the Marines. Marines are sidestepping the storm. Only 1 of them goes down. There's still 1 Templar in there. So 458 still knows he's got a chance here with that 1 shuttle, the 1 Templar. Minchul might not know that there's still 1 Templar in there that is still over there, ready to strike. He's going to plug up this hole with some turrets. But first comes this frontal attack here from 458 onto Minchul, who put a tank upon the hill to help him defend. He's got level 1 attack damage upgrade for his tanks, level 1 damage attack upgrade for Dragoons and the Zealots from 458. He unloads on the top, removes the tank from the hill. All the units from the back are going to the front because they have to attend to this mass attack coming in. The Reavers are loading on the scene as well, ready to fire and kill everything. Kills all the Marines, kills all the tanks there as well. The bunkers are doing most of the work. Tanks are far in the back. Now shuttle comes in for the top side as well at the same time. Templar arrives on the scene. Templar storms on the SCVs. The SCVs go down to all the storm, kills 40 of them. Minchul knows the game is lost, he leaves. That was really, really beautifully executed by 458. He absolutely styled on his opponent. That was beautiful pro display. Beautiful pro display. So the score now is 3-1. 3-1. Even though I was praising Minchul in the first game, because he really, really played so extremely well in the first game. He played extremely well in game number 2 as well, but he got caught off guard. In game number 3, just, you know, the build order was really bad for the situation he was in. And in this game, he was going really well, really hard, but he got torn apart by that amazing multitasking play from 458, where he pulls off amazingly well executed attacks that we don't often see. This was beautifully executed. Really, really super impressed. So let's move on to the final game. And, you know, maybe I already spoiled the end result, but maybe I didn't. Game number 5. Minchul against 458. Who will win? Who will be the victor? Technically, 458 has already won the series, because, you know, he's 2 games ahead and there's only 1 game left. So 458 has technically already won the series, but there's a chance here for Minchul to still get that 1 win to set things straight. You know, show us that he really does have what it takes to beat 458's Protoss. He already won once, really convincingly, but you can attribute that first win to the matchup, the build orders. Much like you can attribute the 3rd game to their build orders, where it was just a huge mismatch in build orders which determined the end result. But then there's game number 2, where Minchul was in the lead, was doing really well, and 458 managed to miraculously come back and make a comeback win. So for this final game, we have 458 once again trying his hands at the Dragoon build order. He wants to make it work, because every single time so far it didn't work and he had to adapt and try to make something else work. But the Dragoon build order into Reavers itself has not yet gotten any results, basically. It didn't get any results yet. In both those first 2 games, Minchul was leading, entirely because 458 went for this Dragoon build order. And as I mentioned before, I have seen it work against other players, like JH or Lee Boku, or a lot of other players that 458 has played against. It has worked in the past, but it hasn't worked today. Will it work now? Will it not work? I don't know. The only thing I do know, and I can tell, is that because it's a cross-map game, Minchul will not be killing any probes this time around, because it's simply too much distance. And by the time he finds his opponent, the Dragoons will already be out. It's going to take a lot of time for this SCV to arrive here in the base, Same for this Marine. This Marine is going to go on the bottom side of the map. And both players will find each other really late into the match. Now, 458 is, I think, pulling off a pretty smart move, because he's assuming that if Minchul was right next to him, right here, or right here on the top of the map, he would have already been found. He would have already found 458. So 458 instead sends his probe to the corner on the bottom and skips this spawn. And he's going to leave that spawn completely unscouted. That's smart. Marine there finds the probe though. And he's skipping this spot as well because the Marine came from that spot, so it means that Minchul has to be here, and he was right, because there he finds 4 Marines trying to kill the probe, but the probe gets away just in time. Same here for this SCV. I think it found a pylon there in the choke, although maybe it didn't. Oh yeah, he didn't. So now Minchul doesn't know where 458 is located on the map. He's going to try to scout that top corner again, but he's going to run into a Dragoon, and Dragoon might kill the SCV. Nope. He's going to ignore it, because more Dragoons are spawning very soon, which will take care of the SCV. First, he's going to try to get on the scene just in time to fight against those Marines. Although he's getting sandwiched there, although the sandwich is getting sandwiched as well. And it looks like the Dragoons are ready to wreck and deal damage. And this is when Minchul is going to regret that he went for 2 barracks, regret that he found his opponent so late, even though he can't really do anything about that. Pulling SCVs to the front to help fight against the Dragoons. Dragoons have just killed the SCVs in the base. That one SCV is dead. So you might argue that at one SCV being here in the base and taking the attention of these Dragoons allowed Minchul to defend this, because the Dragoons would have arrived here on the scene already if it wasn't for the fact that they wanted to kill the SCV here that was in 458's base. 458 is building a proxy Reaver base here on the bottom. He wants to use these Reavers, well, these 2 Robos, to build Reavers and shuttles and fly in from a location where Minchul won't know what's happening. Because Minchul is going to get a scan upgrade and scan for a tech in the near future and try to find the tech, see what 458 is up to, but he will find no tech here whatsoever. The Dragoons there are getting zoned away by the Marine range upgrade, which combined with the tanks means that the Dragoons can attack the bunkers. Keeps them away. There's the scan. Scans on top of the Nexus, and as I mentioned, he doesn't find the Robos. He doesn't know what's up. Although you can of course assume that the Robos have to be there, because until now, Robos have been the build order of choice for 458. But where are they? When are they going to be coming in? What is the timing of those Robos? What is the timing of the Reavers and the shuttles? Minchul does not have all this information. He scans again. Scans the choke. Sometimes 458 likes to build the pylon here and build the Robos in the front as well, so we can try to do a Reaver push without having to use shuttles. He just walks them right up and attacks the bunkers and the depots with the Reavers and then the Dragoons and breaks through. But at the moment, this is here. Not yet found, although an engineering base moving to the side. If this engineering bay moves far enough, it might just spot the Robo here on the side. But first we will have some Dragoons being shuttled up into the hill, or beyond the hill, to start annoying the shit out of Minchul. You'll load them on the hill there to kill the engineering bay and kill turrets as well. But this means that there's less Dragoons here in the front, so now Minchul goes for a frontal attack on the Dragoons here in the front with the Marines and his medics, as he has stim upgrade has finished, and he forces those Dragoons away. This is brilliant thinking from Minchul, using this little bit of information to determine that he can go for an attack, because he has determined that there are shuttles on the map and Dragoons are being put up on the hill, which lets him fight. And now he's going to scout the side here, although the Reavers on the low ground are going to kill the Marines. The Marines are being micro. No micro. Oh, he kills almost all of them. Kills almost all of them. Only 3 of them are left alive. He's going to try to take down the shuttle before the Reaver can unload. But there's a cannon there as well, which takes out one of the Marines, which means the shuttle will stay alive as the Reaver starts to unload. The Dragoons arriving back on the scene as well, and all the Marines have died. That's a lot of units lost there for Minchul. Not sure if he wanted that to happen, though, because now it means that he's very weak here in the front, as all the bunkers are empty. One Marine. Marines are on the side. He flies in. The shuttle's going to get intercepted there, though, but both Reavers unload. He's going to get a couple of shots off. No, he gets One shot, two shot, almost kills the tank that killed a couple of Marines. But yeah, this is one of those scenarios where Minchul tries to style and do amazing things, but it backfires. It backfires because his opponent was one step ahead of him. Minchul thought he had the game by moving his Marines out of the bunkers into the middle of the map, try to fight against the Dragoons and try to pick off this proxy base here. But the Reavers had already finished, so it was not going to work. Which now means that he can try to once again pull off some of those moves, as the amount of units that Minchul has reduced drastically. He lost 20 Marines, 25 maybe even in total. About 16 here and about 7 there. Drop comes in from the top side. He's going to unload there above the turrets because the shuttles will go down if he doesn't. So he has to unload. He's going to kill this top portion there in the corner. Very painful for Minchul. He kills the turrets there. You cannot really commit to it. Is to set up a tank there first to kill the Reaver in the back, but the Reaver crawls out of tank range, so he has to set up another one closer to the Reaver. Gonna kill the Reaver, gonna kill the Dragoons there as well. Reaver gonna get one shot off. No, gets no shot off. Another drop has been prepared here on the side. There's 4 robots here in total. A lot of Zealots are being built as well, because Zealot speed is finished. His level 1 attack upgrade on the way. I need a bit of water, but I forgot to fill my glass. So we've got cannons being built because, well, he saw the starport. Maybe he saw the dropship flying crossway as well as the shields were flying in. Which means, of course, that at this point, Minchul has the ability to go for tank drops, which he is in fact going to be doing. Or maybe he's going to put them up on the hill to help him defend. No, it's going to be a tank drop. Going to go for the tank drop. He scanned and saw the cannons here, but these cannons will finish before the drop arrive, but a frontal attack happening first, and there's no tanks to take care of those Reavers in the back, and this is disastrous for Minchul. Tanks are rolling from the back to the front there, though. The Marines are stimming into those Zealots, and the Zealots are having trouble. The Reavers are killing the bunkers eventually, but the Zealots have gone down mostly. Almost no Zealots are left alive. They're now going to try to micro the shuttles with the Reavers, but his turrets are keeping the shuttles away, so he just picks them all up and flies back to base. It was very close. That was very, very close, but the stim Marines behind the bunkers and the depots really did the trick. Tanks are loading. Probes are running away. Gets no probe kills, really. Both tanks go down in the end. Almost killed the cannon. Almost all the probes are still alive. He's only on 54 of them because he only has 2 Nexus. And he went for the second Nexus pretty late into the game at around the 5-minute mark. Whereas Minchul went for 2 command centers really early on. So he's on 80 SCVs in total here. And getting a 4th one as well. And now we can see Minchul start scaling up and become very rich, very big, very fast. Because he's got those 80 SCVs as I've mentioned. And he's also adding on a lot of factories. And the factories are going to be producing a lot of mech. He's going to lift up those barracks as well once he feels safe against those shuttle drops. Because at the moment he still needs those against those shuttles. Pretty much every single upgrade in the building is being built. In the production tab here, as we can see in the top corner, once again goes in for an attack. He's going to fly in the shuttles from the side to get behind the line damage down on the tanks, and he hits them pretty well. Now the Zealots can try to break through the depots, but there's still a couple of those tanks there up on the hill. The wall is broken, gets through, gets on top of the tank, but the tanks up on the hill are going to be the deal breaker. So he's going to try to kill as many depots as he can before running away to keep the Zealots alive. Yeah, I'm going to get a drink. Well, maybe not. Ugh. My voice feels dry. Really dry. Yeah, I need a drink. I'm going to pause it real quick. Alright, I'm back. I had something to drink. My voice still doesn't feel as good as it should, but let's continue. So once again, we have Reavers being loaded up into shuttles, shuttles being produced. A lot of upgrades are on the way everywhere on the map. We've got Corsairs coming in for 4-8 as well to escort these shuttles in. He's going to load everything up into those shuttles. 4-8 is a little bit behind on schedule because, well, as I mentioned before, his economy didn't get that big that fast because of the late Nexus, whereas Minchul is big already. He has even more supply than 4-5-8. He's building mostly factories, getting upgrades for his mech. He's on 0-0 at the moment, but very soon on level 2-2. Although it won't show me, because the interface is being a bitch. So he's setting up cannons here in the front to build a buffer zone that will slow Minchul down when Minchul wants to break out. So he's spending his minerals wisely. He doesn't have a lot of gateways though, like almost no gateways. You've got 6 here in the back, 3 more here for a total of 9. And tanks are being put up on the hill here to secure this perimeter right next to the hill, make life difficult for 458 in regards to this proxy base. I'm gonna go in with a drop here though. Stacking up those shuttles to make it hard to focus them in particular. Arriving on the scene, you're gonna unload right next to the tanks. Unloads right on top of the command center. That's 3 Reavers. Doesn't get that much damage down in the end. Doesn't get any SCV kills either. You killed 4. That's not significant. Actually, that helps Minchul out. Because Minchul had a couple too many SCVs. He only needs 70. He can still afford to lose 6 of them. He's got Valkyries finished up as well. And he's going for the counter attack because he saw that the cannons were being built on the middle, which of course means that, alright, I gotta go now. He also knows that 458 just used most of his units to go for a drop that really didn't do anything at all. There's a lot of zealots here on the middle though, goes for the attack on the Marines, getting on top of the Marines and on top of the tanks, gonna kill pretty much his entire frontal portion here. So he still gets some shit done. Tanks here being put next to the proxy base, so he's gonna lose the robos, gonna lose this entire portion really. These Zealots are going to try to clear out those 2 tanks to help those Reavers, but Marines are going there as well, ready to kill the cannon. Kills the cannon pretty much instantly. Now we can start killing those shuttles, and this drop attempt from 4K here on the side is going to get taken down before it can really do anything big. Oh, there's a Reaver there killing the tanks. Units here on the middle though are clearing out the cannons. More units are coming from the back into the middle. 458 now has a couple more gateways, there's a lot of money. He has to start building a base quick, but he also has to keep the pressure up on Minchul. This is one of those very disastrous scenarios where the build order from 458 in particular, once again, you know, backfires really hard. If he had done damage with the Reavers and the Dragoons in the early game, this would be a different game. But if he deals no damage whatsoever, Minchul will be too big for him to handle right at about the 12-minute mark, and Minchul can just keep rolling out because he's got so many factories, so many start gates with Valkyries that dropships are not really, well, shuttles are not really an option anymore for 458. This game is looking really dire here for 458, and Minchul is in a really great spot here. Tanks are being set up on the middle. He keeps scanning for information, scans the entire middle, sees nothing on the middle, so he knows he can probably go for the attack. He's going in with the Valkyries first to hunt for those shuttles, and he finds the shuttles as they intercept and beautiful snipe there. That's why scanning for shuttles is such a huge thing. It gives you so much freedom, and it takes so much pressure off your minerals. So first you're going to clear out this bottom portion there. Reavers there are fighting against the tanks, but the tanks is going to take it down in one fell swoop. Swoopity poop. There it is. And gone they are. Moves on the top are denying vision, trying to kill the barracks, trying to, you know, deny sight vision, which is kind of important. Because it means that the Terran has less reaction time to shuttles, but at the moment there's no shuttles. There is no robos. He's trying to go into carriers here, it appears, but it's gonna take him so much time to get carriers even running that Minchul just has to go across map and attack. He's got a mass on the middle, trying to fight back against those tanks that are also moving across the middle. Tanks actually get a surround on the Zealots there, but that's also kind of bad for the tanks because now the tanks are spread too thin. A lot of Valkyries there, but now there's a lot of tanks coming in from the base as well, and now those tanks here are killing those Zealots here. These Zealots are getting on top of the tanks there though. But eventually this fight is won by Minchul, and 458 is still in a dire situation because he only has a couple of gateways. More Zealots are coming in from the base there though, ready to get on top of the tanks. The tanks are pulling back, microing backwards, trying to stack on top of each other, make it hard for the Zealots to get a surround. He gets a surround in the end though. But there's more tanks and Dragoons here. Tanks up on the hill as well, which are contributing to this entire fight so significantly much. 6 kills apiece. More tanks are coming in there on top of the tanks still, and these tanks up on the hill are going to kill the tanks here on the low ground, which is not that great. So in the end, they don't contribute at all Well, they do contribute, but they contribute towards the enemy winning a fight. Which gives 458 even more time to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And the carriers are very close to finishing, but these Valkyries here, though, have me really worried for those carriers. Because the interceptors go down pretty quick against Valkyries. And the Valkyries have pretty significant upgrades, which I think the carriers will not have. He's getting a level 1 attack upgrade here. There's no second Cyber Core, so no armor upgrade. The armor upgrade, oh, the Cyber Core just finishes. Zealots are moving out once again, trying to delay the inevitable. Will he do it? He gets on top of the tanks. Gets us surrounded by the tanks. Will the tanks go down? That's the question. Will he deal enough damage to buy himself enough time for more off-damage carriers to finish, or will he not? Yeah, he didn't buy himself any time whatsoever. Nothing at all. The carriers are finishing soon though, but the Valkyries are arriving on the scene. He scanned the Stargates. And he's going to kill the carriers as they spawn. One of them, they're going to go down. The others have been damaged. And he's just going to chase them, going to ignore the cannons. He's just going to fire at them. Because the carriers have no interceptors. He can afford to lose these Valkyries as long as he kills the carriers. Because if those carriers go down, 458 has nothing to defend himself with in the near future. Because he needs those carriers. He needs the interceptors. Because there's no anti-air. There's no Goliaths. Well, there are a couple of Goliaths. There's a couple of Valkyries as well. But the game would have changed if those carriers had gotten the interceptors, because that would mean that 458 can try to go for a counter push on these tanks, but it's not meant to be. Minchul is simply too good for something like that to work. And 458 tried to go for somewhat of an experimental build order, the Dragoon build order into Robo Reaver, into whatever he was doing, but it was not meant to be. Not today. Minchul is too good for this build order to even remotely work. Although we can kind of say that it did work once, but it was more so Minchul having some sloppy defending against shuttles. So yeah, that's the entire series. Went on a little bit longer than I expected, and my voice kind of gave out halfway through. But I think this was a kind of a hype series. Some of these games were very good. Very well played. Minchul's Terran is absolutely a lot of fun to watch. And his thinking, most of all, his thinking is so impressive. But thanks for watching. Leave a subscribe, leave a like, leave whatever you want to do. I don't care. I only care that you do what you want to do. And yeah, do stuff. So thanks for watching, and hope to see you next time. I'm gonna hunt for a screenshot for a thumbnail.